Trump, Carney, and the 51st state? Are you kidding me? But maybe there's something else going on here that we're not quite seeing. And I can tell you the research that you're going to find and hear in this video really does make some very interesting cases about Canada and the relationship of the United States. Stick around to the very end because I'm quite certain the things that will be revealed in this video are going to impact the way you think, maybe rethink the relationship, and maybe more importantly, help us fill in the gaps of what we don't understand. All that we're asking for is a like and a subscribe. Hitting 500 subscribers is a goal of this channel. And yes, folks, you can be one of those original 500 subscribers. And by the same token, you get to help me feed the squirrels. Until then, let's go ahead and continue this video. So today we're looking at a strange political alliance, and this really has people talking quite a bit. Trump, Mark Carney, and this idea of the 51st state. Sounds far-fetched, I know, but maybe. But the implications are real for power, for policy, and maybe for the middle class. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this conversation isn't just about headlines. It's about influence and control and your future. And maybe equally as important, our position as countries inside the Anglosphere and our position and longevity as world powers. So let's go ahead and talk about the players in the storyline here, because it's been an ongoing theme since Mark Carney's been elected, since Donald Trump's been elected, and I think they're really worth exploring in a little bit more detail because there's much more below the surface once we get the attitudes figured out between the politicians, right? And so let's talk about the players in the storyline here. We already know that Mark Carney is the Prime Minister of Canada, and he's a super intelligent guy. Like, academically, he's got it going on. He's got some really, really deep-rooted connections with the finance community, central banker, climate finance advocate. And why would you use the name Carney in the same sentence as Donald Trump, who really seems to be an outspoken capitalist? But political alliances and politics in general makes really strange bedfellows. The fact is that maybe they come from different places on the economic spectrum, but the question is there an opportunity for the both countries to work out a very, very powerful alliance about economy, about sovereignty, and about the best relationships for the two countries? That's a place that we should consider digging into a little bit more. So Trump's rhetoric, he can't sometimes get out of his own way. And if you understand that, go ahead and hit like, because you're not alone. Even some of Trump's most ardent supporters understand that he does spit out a lot of rhetoric, and that rhetoric sometimes takes people off direction of what he's really trying to accomplish. For instance, this crazy talk about making Canada the 51st state. I don't think he actually means taking over Canada. The people in America do not want to take over Canada. The people in Canada don't want America to take them over. So let's stop that talk and think about this a little bit more, as this is figurative speech, because let's face it, there's liberal versus symbolic interpretations of what Trump's really talking about. There's, of course, all kinds of other crazy rhetoric about how this is supposed to work. And of course, let's face it, expansionist policies, global decentralization. Yes, there's people that are going to go off on all kinds of bunny trails. But hear me out. What if the two countries were to function as a unit? Canada still maintaining its sovereignty, but the United States really doubling down as an economic powerhouse, and also maybe rethinking the tariff strategy, rethinking U.S. investment in Canada, and also, really, really important, making sure that the Western Hemisphere is taken care of. The United States has some things to offer Canada, and meanwhile, Canada has a lot to offer the United States as well, and I think it's worth exploring. So this 51st state rhetoric is just that. Let's dig a little deeper. So I'm not buying it. I don't think for a second the United States and Canada are going to form a nation together. No. However, if they could form a seamless economic alliance, that's something to take into consideration. Because, as in all the other states of the United States, the federal government is in charge of trade relationships. And I'm curious, Canada has a lot to offer. The Canadian people are very similar to the Americans. And yes, I realize that we're probably a little bit more loud, more obnoxious, and the rhetoric here is a bit crazy at times. I get it. But likewise, understand that we have some cultural understandings and we have a vested interest in protecting the Western Hemisphere, particularly North America. And so these are some things to really take into consideration because policy ripple effects mean taxes, that means regulation, it means economic policy. And whether this becomes policy or not, these alliances are signaling something bigger that's on the horizon, or at least it's up for negotiations. Pay attention to the relationship behind the headlines, and if you felt this added some value to your understanding of really what could be going on between the United States and Canada, between Trump and Mark Carney, hit like and hit subscribe, because the fact is, not only do you help me feed the squirrels in my backyard, you also trigger the YouTube algorithm, and you're also saying that you want to hear a little bit more and continue this conversation, because I think some big things can come between a better relationship between the United States and Canada, and definitely not making Canada part of the United States, but really exploring how the two countries can work together as a team. Hey, my name is Brian. Just a reminder that the biggest battle we're fighting every single day is the one between our ears. Stay healthy, and I'll catch you next video. Thanks for joining me.